What up, everybody? We're mixing it up today. We're gonna review a VOD from a game I played earlier today instead of a live match. This was a bit of an interesting one. I won't spoil it, but there are some twists and turns to it. So we'll see how it goes, and we'll talk through some of the stuff that happened. We'll hover on ourselves. This match is against an Irellia. Right off the bat, we noticed that she took teleport rather than ignite. And if you look at her items, she went ahead and bought Doran's shield rather than the Doran's ring. Or I don't know if she takes corruption pots ever, but that's a thing to note. Usually, because, or at least in the past, she'd have the, as a champion, Irellia has the edge early game. She just kind of hops on you and keeps slicing through you with her good attack speed. And if you miss an ability at all, you're kind of dead in the water and hope that she just backs off. But you can kind of see from her playstyle, or at least I noticed, is she's a little bit more on the passive side, kind of less confident with her fighting. I did land some good poke on there early, but I was being cautious because as a champion as a whole, I know that 1v1 she should be able to win if I overstep. Although lately, from the Irellia players that I've been playing against, that hasn't always seemed to be the case. It seems that Mordekaiser has been stacking up fairly well against her. We did notice that this Dolly was coming in, but we were close enough to tower that it wasn't really an issue. She's low mana, so she's going back. Kind of an early back. It's 3 minutes 42 seconds, so there's not much that she's gonna get out of this battle. We're gonna just kind of sit on here and try to get a little bit of an XP lead and just slow push this wave. We could have fast pushed it out and forced her to burn her TP. But I guess I just did not go with that tactic. Maybe speed it up here a little bit. She's back in lane. For an item, she went ahead and bought a longsword, which it doesn't give her a whole lot of extra value. She does have this pot. I don't know if she had it from earlier. Proctor bone plating, but right now you see I'm starting to pressure her kind of heavily because I have that level lead that she does not have. If she really wanted to, she could stack up pretty well, even though she's down a level, but she doesn't seem very confident in her abilities, and so I'm realizing that as I'm going, and I'm pushing even further. At this point, it's gonna be under tower. You don't want to get too crazy, because if she lands that stun on you under tower, you're gonna take quite a few turret shots, and that's not pleasant. But one thing I like to do when they are shoved under this, and I don't have to worry about the jungle. As you can see, the jungle is down bot, so I don't have to worry about them coming up for gank. Your Q is just long enough, you can go in, slap her, and then step right outside the turret range, so you won't get hit with a turret shot. At this point, I don't know exactly how to show my gold, but I think I have a good amount of gold, and I'll go ahead and put it on the board, probably with a blasting wand, and let's see, and some armor. Usually you want to go ahead and get boots if you just have enough gold. I went for the armor. I suppose, actually I'm going to pause that because there's something there I should have talked about. I went with the armor because I've thought, my thinking is she's going to be on top of me if we have an all-out fight. So it's not going to be a whole lot of chasing her down or me running from her. Because for her to land her stuff, she has to be on top of me. And I think I would just get more value out of that. But I'm going to rewind just a little bit there before I backed, because I think it would have been better if I rather stayed in lane. And let me talk about why. Alright, we're getting her poked in a little bit, kind of shoving the lane because we think we want to go back. I knew there was vision in that bush, that's why I purposely went to this one. But here's the thing, as you watch, she's starting to come in, and she's really far away from her tower. This is a mistake on our part, especially with not just the low health but the low mana there. And I did actually try to cancel this out once I noticed. I was like, maybe not focused on here, maybe I was looking down here or something, but I didn't get it canceled out. But I'm level 5 and she's level 5, and I was literally like 1 minion away from leveling up to level 6. So I could have just force killed 1 minion, ulted her, and it's almost a guaranteed kill right there. So that probably should have been what I did instead, because that was a huge mistake for her to come out this far with so low stats. Alright. And because she pushed out kind of like that, I did miss a good amount of portion of farm there. I think I missed like a cannon. Not the end of the world, I did catch some of it. Put it on 2x speed here. I like to put deep wards past that bush. Kind of gives me a little bit of more of a time lead to tell if I'm going to get ganked, especially with like, or sometimes like with Nidalee, those Qs have long distance. So maybe she like sticks back here and like throws that Q or something. I don't know. I just feel like I like the extra lead time having it that deep. But we're not really afraid of her just based on how we've seen her play. Items were about even, except for yeah, we're about even. We would like for her to step up so we can ult her here in this open area. I do have ult up, but I think I was nervous about the jungle being there. But we go ahead and ult anyway. She played... No, I'll slow that down and I'll play it back. We got really low health there. That's why we went ahead and ulted. And she flashed away, so we weren't able to get this kill inside of our ultimate, so we didn't keep the stats that kept us buffed up. So there was really no way of surviving that. Maybe I should have ulted her early and committed to that fight, but I was kind of nervous that something similar was going to play out anyway, where maybe she survives and then her jungle's right there on me and it's a 2v1 and I die. Or maybe I get the kill and she's right there to ready to mop us up, this Nidalee. So I was hoping to maybe get her ulted somewhere past this mark, closer to the tower. Or just buy me time that the jungler wasn't as close as she was. You can kind of see the stats of what's going on with the rest of the team. We got a 4-0 Aphelios going on down there with a hefty bounty. I see Irellia was over there. We saw her coming in, but I wasn't scared of fighting her 1v1. Even though she was up there. Even if she would have landed that, I could have just used knee to pull her off of me. To keep from getting stunned. I mean, if she landed that stun over here under tower, it's not ideal, but... Right, based on what I've seen so far, we don't have much fear of this Irellia. Just get a free bonk here and there. We saw that she was playing like that, so we go when we we stop that any chance we get. Even if we take a tower shot, because we can just pop that W, and it mitigates most of that damage. It's just kind of wasting her time. I did see this Aphelios. I think I also saw the Janna. But once Aphelios really stepped this close, I know I had my ult up and I had Ghost, and I also knew he had that big bounty. So even if we traded out, I feel like it was a good bit of value from it. Irellia is gone, and it's just me and Janna now. And even though we didn't get the kill, we forced her to use her ultimate there, so we got a lot of value out of that fight. As we were chasing the Janna, realistically, there's a low chance of actually catching her because of, you know, like her tornado she shoots out, her ultimate, if she has flash or not. But we also know that Irellia was gone. I guess I don't really remember where the jungler was at the moment. But we were trying to squeeze any bit of value out that we could, because there's absolutely no way that Janna could do anything to kill us. At least not on her own. We know her health is low. Her health is low enough too. I'm just trying to stay in lane to kind of bait her, which it works. Ult her under tower. Oh, nope, we don't have ult. But just play under the tower. Go back and watch that again. Doing this on purpose, interview, so that, to try and debate that out. Our ult is on cooldown. We don't have summoner spells. It might not be the most ideal, but I have confidence. We have a level on her. We knew that E was coming off, her E there. And so we used our pull off, our death scrap, our E, to keep some distance away from her. So she has to use some more time of that stun time. She has to use up a little bit just to get back on top of us. And so there's less time there that we're taking active damage, I guess. Our W did come back up there. It's a little gussy, it is close. But if you played Mordekaiser enough times, you know the limits of what he can take. We play him with Last Stand, so the lower health we have, the longer we're staying in the fight, the better. With the Conquerors too. Take a quick look at the items at this point. We had enough for our Riftmaker blasting one now, and her boots are done. And she has a full item, but it's not the mythic. Doesn't have boots completed. Taking note of the bounties on the board. The jungler, also the Misfortune, who's the mid laner here. Now we do see there's two ADCs, and then there's Irellia that is high DPS, and so probably what we would be looking for an item. Actually, at this point, what I'm building right now with this blasting one is Riley's Crystal Scepter. The majority of the team is extremely squishy. The only one that's really not is Irellia, and she's squishy to me right now, is what it feels like, because she's kind of behind. Well, she might not be really behind in CS. You can see she has a lead, but like I have 2 levels on her. Nope, 1 level now, and just I'm not afraid skill wise from what I've seen so far. So I want to hedge that lead that I have, that aggression, by putting it into Riley's Crystal Scepter. So these squishy people, that could be hard to nail down with the Scale Force, with this Rocket Belt. with the speed boost and the CC. Riley's will help us like keep them locked and closer to us, easier for us to catch up on. So that's what we're building. And then after that, I was talking about how there's 2 ADCs and then a high DPS AD champion, Irellia. It might be good to go either Thornmail or Randuin's. I don't know that I really need the healing cut. That would mainly help with Irellia, but I'm not too scared of Irellia. And Randuin's is just so powerful of an item. I know this tower's going down, but even if I walked up to it to protect it, it'd be down by the time I got there. Randuin's is such a great item because of that active that comes. Not only does it have a crap ton of armor and health, but it also has that active ability that makes it so you slow down the attack speed and the damage of whoever's in the range, and you physically slow them down too, which is a huge bonus when you're playing against the champions that are hard to catch. At this point, I think we die. Yeah. Did we have ultimate? We did not have ultimate. When Miss Fortune was doing her ult, what you could do if you have the ability up, I don't think I had it up, but you can use your E to kind of scoot her along, and I think that cancels out her ultimate. At the very least, it'll move it. It'll move the ultimate directionally, so maybe you can use it to pull her ultimate off of your team if it's doing a bunch of damage to your team. But you should always be looking for little windows there to capitalize on the utility of your E. We know there's a lot going on bot side here. From my perspective, we are very behind, and I just want to kind of get whatever value I can on the opposite side of the map, because I think even if I'm there, I don't think we get the dragon. I think we just all die. I mean, they have some pretty big leads on those ADCs. Our assassins are kind of suffering. We got Zed, and Varus is building lethality, which I'm okay with. But they don't seem to be doing good. They don't seem to be. It doesn't seem to be working for them, and they seem like, at least from a comp perspective, like they should be the ones that should be getting the most value out of this game, and it doesn't seem to be that way. We did drop Rift Herald at top though, because they were all bot side, and so we were trying to force some of that map pressure. If we had not procced our passive there, we maybe could have gone up and tried to get some hits on it, on that tower. But if she had ult there and she landed an E, it could have been very dangerous for us. Speed it up a little bit there. You can see the score is not looking great. Grab whatever farm we can do, whatever we can grab. Sweeping around. I did kind of go in a 1v3 looking area there that did not look pretty, but I do have ultimate. I also know there's some high bounties out there, especially this Miss Fortune. I think she was definitely my who my eyes were set on, and who I'd be hoping to get, but she's kind of playing towards the back there. So I kind of felt safe-ish doing it. Even if I would have died, I felt confident I would get a trade out. So now we're gonna flank here and try to get this Irellia, just because she's kind of overstepped. What I do need to be careful of is I have Yuumi on me, and in team fights, Yuumi on me works well, but it's definitely sketchy, and you have to keep it at the back of your mind that Yuumi's on you, because as soon as you go into an ultimate, you're going to leave her dead in the water. She's just going to be floating around, and that's a huge, easy target for the enemy team to get. Alright, we got our passive proc there, which gives us extra movement speed, which I think was the reason why we were able to catch her there. And that was the first death on the board for her. It's okay to tower dive a little bit, even if you, especially if you have Yuumi on you, because you have you can mitigate a lot of the damage that you take. I was doing that on purpose because I was kind of looking for a window to kind of tease her out, coax her away from there. But because we do have ult up, but it didn't look like it was gonna happen, and I was a little worried that who was it? Someone was around me. I don't know. It just looked like it might have been too much of a 50-50 scenario. Kind of going to get whatever we can. It's not ideal to have Yuumi on us right now when we kind of do this side laning stuff, farming, because we're splitting XP with her. We see the Nidalee. Actually, I don't know if, how do we show Fog of War? There we go. Maybe I should have had it like this. Sweeping. I think Dragon is coming up. Yeah, Dragon is coming up, so we're kind of going through the area. What we like to do is ult the jungler before this kind of stuff happens, but it was getting really sloppy there, so we just kind of had to grab onto whoever we could, which was fortunately misfortune. Fortunately, misfortune because of that bounty she had. So we were able to claim something really big out of it. We do have added stats, but that's a lot of damage coming at us from AP from the Nidalee and AD from this 9-in-1 Aphelios. Aphelios is not scary, almost never scary to us. He can get a lot of DPS. A lot of DPS on us if, you know, he gets really fed like this. But even still, if you pop your ghost, run up to him, ult him, you basically are stuck on him like glue, and he doesn't really have a good way to get off of you. Maybe he has Gale Force, but again, that ghost, if you have ghost, gives you so much value that it's really hard for him to stay away from you. And if you build him even a little bit of armory, especially with Randuin's is just poison to Aphelios. There's not much he can do. Maybe he can get a QSS and build it into Mercurial Scimitar, but I don't see that happen too often. At least not with Aphelios. Doesn't mean it can't happen. But as far as ADCs go, and you know, them being difficult to catch, Aphelios doesn't really seem to be one of them. There's definitely harder to lock down champions like Jhin. Jhin has good attack speed and he has more CC in his kit. This is a horrible, horrible, horrible choice that we're doing it here with 3 people dead on our team. I don't know. This is one of those moments where my brain just kind of shut off, and it was a horrible idea. So what do we do here? We kind of ult whoever we can and just hope we can trade out. Misfortune was playing with the vision in the bush there, which kind of sucked. We got the gold, but was it worth it? Absolutely not. We're just trying to run just to kind of delay them shoving in. Our team is coming up now, but they've got a full team pretty much right there with the Baron now. I am still dead at this moment, but just letting you see what's happening fight-wise for the team. Felios. Misfortune has finally got tired of us locking her down, so she got Quicksilver Sash there. Felios is 10-1, 12-4, 12-6. We're coming up. See what items we have. We did go ahead and get Bramble Vest, and we have Force of Nature, we just basically ulted whoever we could that we saw was around us. Tried to prioritize squishy champions, and try to go for the low health ones that are easiest to catch. Every time you get a kill off, it procs your triumph, so you can stay in battle longer. It's always a nice feeling to get a pentakill, even if you know you're not playing well, even if you're not gonna win the game. It's a good feeling to get a pentakill. And Mordekaiser's one that sees more pentakills than other champions. But that whole base shove, our base is just absolutely obliterated. That was a direct correlation to us doing that Baron and getting slaughtered under it. Horrible, horrible decision. Absolutely not worth, even with a pentakill. Trying to just go through. We pushed them in a little bit, trying to get you know, what pressure, what value we can. Stealing the camps. We got our eyes on this wave coming up here, so I kind of pull off a little early to catch it. I was thinking those Krugs would come around this way, so that's why I kind of kept in the bush, but it didn't work. That's okay. We need to get moving because they're all alive and we don't want to be 5v1'd up here. So we start to see them down here. We need to get that value that we have on the map. Bought our Thornmail there, bought a pot, an iron pot. They all have high damage and are kind of squishy, so we go with the iron pot, the pot of iron, I think, iron elixir. Because we want that tankiness, that survivability. That was a little unfortunate. We kind of canceled out his ult there. I think he ulted like a millisecond after we ulted. But unfortunately, I don't think it ruins his ultimate. I think it just kind of puts it on a slight cooldown. We're just getting the game's kind of over. You can kind of see right there. But we're just trying to get whatever we can out of it. One thing you can note is we have a lot of fight sustain there, especially with that Yumi on us. We were just sitting in there absorbing tons of damage. That was a long-lasting fight. But unfortunately, we did lose that game. Was it our fault? A good portion of it did come from us, even though our stats weren't the greatest. Or even though our stats were decent. Let's see, that was this one. Yeah, so KD wise, we were the only one positive and by a good margin. But macro wise, there were a lot of issues we could have worked on. Especially that Baron call. That Baron call definitely, I think, if it didn't cost us the game, it definitely didn't help. Could have used Pinglish better, and pinging intent to your fellow teammates. We did do a good amount of damage though. Damage taken. well, it wasn't the highest, but our self-mitigated damage, well over 2 times our damage taken. That is a lot. We absorbed a lot of damage there, and that's why we were building so tanky, because we observed, right? We made that deduction of that they have high damage champions, and that we would, in order to be able to live long enough to catch them and do the damage to take them down, we'd have to build tanky to live long enough to reach them. So usually when I build damage on Mordekaiser is when the enemy team is tankier, or you know, I need good sustain in the fight and I'm not worried about being bursted to death. But if the enemy team is high damage and, you know, relatively hard to lock down with those highly mobile champions, definitely better to go tanky. And I'd say 2 out of 3 games you will go the tanky route rather than the damage dealing route. At least that's how I've based on what I've observed, I guess. That's how I feel about it. But yeah, not a win, was still a fun game. And yeah, I think right now LP wise we're not sitting in a good spot. Let's see. Yeah, our demotion shield there is flagging on us, but we'll see how far we can get. We're sitting at 14 LP right now, and we'll just keep pushing forward. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope we see you again.